Hi, my name is Julie. I'm going to demonstrate for you today the using of a pastry bag and also how to supreme a piece of citrus fruit. To do so, I'm going to show you how to make this really delicious coconut pudding dessert from the book Rossum, which was written by one of my teachers, Brigitte Mars, and it is an awesome Rossum dessert. So the dessert calls for using coconut from a young coconut. You scoop it out and you add it to a food processor with some soaked dates that you soak for 20 minutes, cut in half and throw in there. And then you use the juice of a couple of lemons or so. And I just wanted to show you this little tool that we've been using at culinary school. It's a lemon squeezer. I'd never really had seen one before. It's really kind of cool because, as I'm going to lower this and show you, you just put it in and you squeeze it into your bowl and it gets all your juice. You squeeze it as hard as you want, and this way you're not dealing with pits. I hate pits. I'm sure you do too. And this way you don't have to go fishing around your juice of your lemon or whatever you're squeezing and look for pits that always slide away from you anyway. So just wanted to show you that interesting little tool that I have for lemons. Okay, so basically I've done a TV move and I prepared most about the pudding ahead of time so that I can really talk about the orange supreming and the pastry bag, which are my main purposes today and my main concerns about showing you. So what I'm going to start off with is my blood orange. Now you can see this lovely orange. It's got a beautiful color. It sort of varies, almost an ombre. And that's what you're going to really look for when you're shopping for one. Also, you want it to be slightly heavy because that'll mean it's full of juice. And that's something that you really want when you're buying an expensive blood orange. They are expensive. They come from the Mediterranean originally. Some are grown in California, but they're a very special fruit and they are expensive, and you want to be careful when choosing them. There are no spots on them, and it should look different than a traditional orange. So what you're going to do here is you're going to slice off the top of the orange and then the bottom of the orange so that you're left with each side flat and you can see the fruit. Okay, I want to just go back a second and rewind and tell you a little bit about coconuts. Now, coconuts are an amazing piece of food. It's a fruit, and it is got so many health benefits that I'm only going to name a few because the list was so long that I can only tell you a few, but I'm going to tell you the ones that I think you're going to like. So they are a very good, quick source of nutrition. They boost your energy and endurance. So this is really great if you're athletic or a weekend warrior or whatever you are. Also, ladies, it prevents wrinkles, age spots, and sagging skin, so you gotta love that. And it is lower in calories than any other fat. So if you like coconuts like I do, go ahead and eat them. They're really good for you. The coconut also can dissolve kidney stones and prevent liver disease. Now again, these are just a few of the benefits that we find in coconuts, and I could go on for another minute or two or three, but I'm not. I'm going to go back to supreming my orange, which has been cut now, as I showed you before, on both sides. That looks really pretty, doesn't it? Okay, so now I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to start cutting the pith. Now, part of the health benefits of the orange, believe it or not, a lot of it is in the pith. This white part is known as the pith. Now, this is where you're going to find a lot of your fiber. And so when you're eating an orange for a different reason other than making a dessert or using it when you're going to be supreming something, eat some of the pith. It's so good for you. Okay, so I'm going to show you, now that I've cut off the first piece, you can see a little bit of the fruit, and I'm going to be able to follow this around and using the fruit really as my guide to see where to cut and how to waste as little of the fruit as possible. And you just guide your knife around and you sort of follow the shape of your fruit. And you turn it around as you go. And it's not there yet, but it's going to start getting really slippery. So you're going to want to be very careful of how you hold it, and that when it's sliding, it's not sliding too far or getting, putting you at risk of cutting yourself. So again, you're just cutting it away, turning it, and you keep going around and around and putting the pieces on the side. And you're going to end up with a really beautiful piece of fruit. And you cut away the last piece here of the fruit. And you see here now I have a little extra piece. I'm just going to get rid of that. And the rest of it looks pretty good. And now what I'm going to start doing is the actual supreming of the orange. Now you can supreme a grapefruit. Sorry for losing me there a second. A grapefruit, a tangerine, a lemon, a lime, any real citrus. But, and you can also, once you're supreming them, use it for desserts, salad, beverages. It really makes a statement that you've tried harder and that you're trying to make a beautiful presentation for whomever you're cooking a meal. So to supreme now, you see we have the orange, and you see in the orange are these little membranes. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut in the membranes. You're going to go alongside of them, and you're going to use your knife and cut down. Again, here you're going to be really careful, holding it in your left hand and being careful because it's slippery and you don't want to get hurt. So I'm going to grab my bowl for my oranges, and here's my first piece. Another tip that I haven't just mentioned to you yet is that I always keep a bowl of water next to me and a towel so that I don't get full of red sticky stuff or yellow sticky stuff, whatever you're cutting. It's just a little tip to have to know that, might go a long way in the kitchen for you one day. So anyway, I keep cutting this around. I'm going to get it all the way around. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the benefits of oranges. Obviously, we all know they have vitamin C, and they're really good for boosting your immunity. They also are help your body absorb iron. It lowers your risk of cancer, and it is very rich in fiber again, but that is, like I mentioned, is in the pith. Now, blood oranges for using for desserts or salads or beverages, it's a really beautiful piece of fruit to use. It's special. It adds to what you're making a great presentation, really. And it can be very messy, so just, watch yourself and be careful of not cutting yourself. And what you do when you're getting now towards the end, you're going to end up with this sort of accordion thing. And you're going to take it, and then you're going to squeeze the extra juice out of the leftover part so that you use that juice and reserve it for either using in your dessert, in your salad, to make a dressing separately, perhaps to add into something else that you're creating that day or the next day. So you try not waste anything. That's what we always learn in culinary school. Waste not, want not. Okay, so here I am at the very end of my orange. There's a pit. I got rid of it. I got my orange all done. I'm going to just dip my hands in the water because they are all really sticky right now and wet. I'm going to dry them off. And I'm going to squeeze this excess accordion looking thing. You can see it's pretty funky, pretty cool. Just squeeze into a bowl and you have a bunch of juice to use later on. Again, here's my handy water bowl to rinse off my hands and dry them off. Okay, so here we're going to move on to the next step of this dessert. I'm going to move my camera back up so you can see me a little better. Sorry if I cut you guys off a little before. Okay, so I'm going to move my bowls over. I'm going to put my knife blade away from me on my cutting board so to be very safe. I'm going to go over and grab my coconut pudding, which is in the food processor, and come back and show you how to use the pastry bag. And then I'll garnish the dessert with a pastry bag on the plate and then use the supremed oranges as the actual garnish. So over here is my pudding that came out really awesome. And I'm going to get a little beautiful plate so you can see it really well. And I'm going to load up the pastry bag. Now here we go. I'm going to move backwards again a little bit and maybe move some of these bowls away so you can see me and not all this other stuff. And I'm going to load up the pastry bag. Part of loading up the pastry bag, you want to have it loaded up 4 ways. But first you're going to select your tip, okay? And pastry bags come with many different kinds of tips, mostly for fancy decorating. Now today I'm just making a dessert, a pudding, and I'm not really decorating using a cake or making icing and doing anything fancy, so you can select whatever tip you want. I'm going to try and look for this one maybe. It has a nice wide mouth so that the pudding should come out easily. And I had taken off the top part, the nut, and you screw the nut back onto the pastry bag, which holds the tip in its place. Very important, otherwise the tip will go flying off and you'll be nowhere. So open up the pastry bag like so and try to load it up neatly, because when you're going to only go about halfway. So you can fold it over and you won't have spillage out of the top and you'll be able to control it well. So I'm just going to grab over here the pudding and put it into my pastry bag. And I'm not going to load it up 100% because this is a demonstration and I'm just trying to show you all how to do it, and hopefully it will turn out really lovely and you'll get a good idea of how this works. So I loaded it up and I'm going to try and just gently mush it down before I start getting it out. And I'm going to fold it over on the top like so that when I get down here, you can see the bulk of this pastry bag now and that it's full. Okay, so I'm going to take my plate, I'm going to move our camera once again, and I'm going to show you, when you use the pastry bag, you're going to hold the pastry bag close to your cake or your plate or whatever you may be using and garnishing and whatever you're using it for. So you're just gently going to squeeze it out. And here we go. It's going to be, I'm going to just make a beautiful little circles so that then we can put the beautiful little oranges, my gorgeous red oranges, on top. So see, it's a pretty just simple swirl like so. And I'm going to reach over and grab my blood oranges. And I'm going to just maybe put one on top. And maybe I'll do a little on the sides so that it just looks really pretty. And even though it's a very simple and healthy dessert, it can still look nice. Alright, so I hope you all enjoyed this little demonstration of mine today and that I taught you something about supreming and using a pastry bag. And I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.